For my first ever video on this new channel, we are testing and reviewing one of my all-time favorite and most used lenses, the Fujifilm XF 16mm F1.4 R WR, a wide-angle prime that is designed for Fujifilm's X-mount cameras with aps-c sensors. This review is entirely independent. The lens was paid for out of pocket, and I have no obligations to any entity. However, as I will most likely state many times, I highly encourage you to watch other review videos to get the most comprehensive view of the product possible. It's a little softer than most of Fujifilm's other lenses, but this makes it quite exceptional for video, as in that area you will most likely be more concerned with character instead of sharpness. There's something quite special about Fujifilm's design philosophy. Its analog look and feel really make you slow down and consider your shots before taking them. You can find this in all aspects of this particular one: the clicky aperture ring, its clutch focus system, and overall weight and balance that really make it feel rather special. As I said, it's one of my favorites, and you can see it in almost every video I've produced on either my EDC channel or tech channel, alongside a slew of corporate work for clients. Hopefully this video can give you the necessary info on whether this lens is something for you. To view the most up-to-date prices, you can click the links in the description below. The 16mm f1.4 lens is a wide-angle prime with a focal length equivalent to 24mm on a full-frame camera. Its maximum aperture of f1.4 is very bright, allowing for low-light shooting and shallow depth of field. The minimum aperture is f16. It features a fully metallic build with a sleek and minimalist design. It is also weather sealed, making it resistant to dust and moisture. The aperture ring clicks and has 1/3 stop increments from f1.4 to f16. A clutch ring allows you to switch between manual and autofocus modes by pulling or pushing it. However, it sometimes annoys me when I switch to manual on the camera, and as soon as I click the focus ring into its manual position, it changes the focus to the distance where the ring is set. This wouldn't be such a big deal if all Fuji lenses were like this, but because they're not, it sometimes takes some getting used to when switching, and even though it's a beloved feature by Fuji fans, I'm personally not that stoked about it. The focus ring is smooth and precise, with a linear response. The manual focus mode is easy to use thanks to the focus distance scale and focus peaking feature on Fujifilm cameras. On the front of the lens, you'll find a 67mm filter thread. All of this comes in at 375 grams, which is a nice weight for these smaller aps-c size cameras. It balances nicely in the hand. As is always the case with Fujifilm lenses, it also comes with some accessories that enhance its usability and protection. For example, the petal-shaped hood that attaches securely to the front of the lens via a bayonet mount. The hood helps to block unwanted light from entering the lens and causing flare or glare. It also protects the front element from accidental bumps or scratches. The lens caps are standard plastic caps that snap on and off easily. However, I personally never utilize these. The autofocus performance of the lens is impressive, as it is fast, accurate, although it does resonate through the body, resulting in noise if you record video without an external microphone. The manual focus performance of the lens is also good, as the focus ring is responsive and smooth. The focus ring has a generous throw of 180 degrees, which gives you fine control over the focus. Now, let's talk about the optical performance. All the testing was done on my Fuji X-H2S with in-camera corrections turned off. As always, I have made sure to do these tests at least 3 times on different days to account for any mistakes on my part. I was shocked to see how soft the image is at f1.4, which has been my primary aperture for shooting almost everything. After seeing these results, I may have to stop it down, at least for photography. As you can see, at f2.8 the image clears up significantly, and the ghosting in the corners disappears, although there is still a lack of contrast. At f4.0 you see a very slight improvement in center sharpness, alongside a big improvement in contrast, and the ghosting has practically disappeared in the corners. It reaches its peak sharpness at f5.6 with a clear image across the frame, As you can see, the contrast improves quite significantly as well. I'd say if you're shooting a landscape or architecture, always stay between f5.6 and f11 for the best performance. At f8 you see no improvements. However, at f11 the image starts to show some very minimal diffractions, which becomes more noticeable at f16. So overall, when it comes to photography, this lens offers decent sharpness. When shooting video, I often find myself adding a mist filter to soften the image and give it a more cinematic style. I always find it important to note here that as soon as you get to a point in your career where you have access to higher end lenses, especially in cinema, you stop to care about the sharpness and are more concerned by character. Yet this is of course a photocentric lens, and in that regard it performs pretty well. As for distortions, at f1.4 it suffers from some vignetting around the edges and some very slight barrel distortion, but it's very minimal. As soon as you stop down to f2.8, the vignetting disappears. It does not have built-in image stabilization, but it relies on the in-body image stabilization, Ibis, of some Fujifilm cameras, such as the X-T4 or the XH2S. The Ibis system works well with this lens, as it is at the wider end of the spectrum. Overall, I have to say that I love this one, and it will be very hard to see it eventually disappear from my kit, as I'd like to transition myself toward medium format. I think it is one of the best lenses for Fujifilm cameras. Not because it offers superb optical performance, excellent build quality, or fast autofocus, but because it genuinely has character, and that's something you rarely see these days. However, it's not cheap, as it costs around €900 at the time of this video, but I think it is worth every penny for what it delivers. Fujifilm recently also released an update to its primes with the new 18mm, which is meant to replace this one, but I see no need to upgrade to that if you already own the 16mm. That being said, if you would like me to test that lens, hit the subscribe button and like the video, as growing this channel will absolutely help me to get my hands on more lenses like this one. If you enjoyed this video, you might also be interested in the Viltrox 33mm f1.4. It is available at a much lower price compared to its Fuji counterpart and offers a slightly less wide-angle feel. I have recently started using it in this overhead rig and it is gaining popularity. You can watch my full review of this lens right here. I hope this video provided you with some value. If you enjoyed it, be sure to subscribe or hit the like button. If you're interested, I have a bunch of other YouTube channels in many different categories, most of which can be found on my homepage. Thank you for watching, and I hope to see you in the next one.